Okay, and we're back. This is one of my most favorite segments of all. It is the psychosocial aspect. So, when I spoke to my counterparts here about the psychosocial, the first thing was, okay, we may lose some people with this segment just because of the name, because it's called psychosocial. So basically people are going to stop right at psycho, like, oh, okay, is this about craziness?
Right.
Well, after you broke it down, yeah, I get it now. When I first heard it, yeah,
Right.
like you said, when people think psycho,
Mm-hmm.
you think that movie when he's like,
Yeah.
in the shower, you know?
That's
I mean, that's the first
everybody.
thing that pops to my head.
In all actuality, all psycho means is the mind. And then the social aspect is you, it's us. It's interaction, it's our behaviors, it's the way we think, it's the way we act, it's everything we do. So moving on for our first topic under the psychosocial segment, I wanted to talk about election 2012 because it's here now. It's here, we are here.
Are you
know.
registered?
yeah, that's the question.
Are you registered?
Well,
Are you registered? Is the question.
Right. I do not believe that I am. I have registered at some point in my life, but I don't remember how many years ago that was.
Is it too late?
I don't know.
So wait a minute. Let's back up here. You registered
At some point
in your life?
Yes.
That means what?
That means
You
that
haven't-
I am a voting virgin.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I
You
am
know,
a
in
vote
any second-
virgin.
Wait a
Any
second.
second.
I
I didn't know
have-
when Obama, like in 2008, you didn't vote?
No.
Wow.
Why should I have voted for Obama? Because he was a black man.
Oh my.
Yes.
You know what?
But that should not have been the only reason why I voted for him.
No.
If Obama was a Republican, would black people feel the same way?
I don't think so.
I don't think it would
I
be
don't think
such
so.
a, no, I don't think it would have been the same because remember Colin Powell? I mean, there was talk about Colin Powell about to, run for president. People were thinking he should as well. He's a black man, and I think if he would have ran, he would have got a good amount of
think
support
that
in the
I
black
would've wanted to
community,
listen
but
to
not
him.
as much.
I would have wanted to
as
listen
Obama.
to what
Nowhere
he had to
close as
say.
much as
Which
Obama.
brings up a good
I would have
point. See,
definitely.
first of all, I will say this. I think that just because we have African American president doesn't mean that every African American have to vote for him just because he's African American.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest things about the last election. If you were a black man or a woman and you didn't agree with Obama's policies, or you were thinking about voting for a different candidate, it was like they were going to take you outside and beat you, man. It was like, what you mean you ain't voting the first black man? I don't care what you believe in.
That particular election, it was a woman, Hillary Clinton, and a black man. And for the first time in my life, I was actually interested. I'm open.
Have you
I
been-
want to learn. I
Have
want
you
to
been
learn
following
about
anything on this?
the first debate.
Okay.
My first time, and I swear to goodness, it felt like my head went into a fishbowl and there was nothing but words as water.
And I think, you bring up a good point. I think the political jargon that is used, sometimes it influences why African Americans vote or don't vote. Because I know when I was growing up, I couldn't understand the language. So therefore, I was disinterested. And I know just being in a community, talking with young brothers and sisters about voting, they don't understand it. They're like, man, it don't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. I'm not going to be able to affect anything anyway.
Exactly.
Therefore, they don't vote.
I grew up in a household that was a Jehovah's Witness household. Politics was not introduced into our home.
When
it
you
wasn't
say politics
allowed.
wasn't introduced, like what does that mean?
Politics, the government, we didn't talk about it. We didn't, voting and
Y'all talk
no,
about
they
the
don't believe
taxes
that.
come out your check. Like,
Well,
No, you understand and you learn what taxes are. I mean, it is a part of life, but
I mean, I'm assuming your family believes that they should have their own freedom to do whatever they want to do and so on and so forth.
yeah, but at
right?
the same time, you do have to abide by laws and regulations and things
Well,
like that.
leaves it
Because
up to-
even in school, I was not allowed to pledge allegiance. I couldn't stand up and put my hand over my heart and pledge my allegiance to a flag.
okay.
So Once I got old enough, trust me, once I got old enough, I was able to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. But because of what I had done for so long and a lot of things had seemed to make sense.
Last election was like the best reality TV ever. I mean, but you know, I think
it was sad to have some of the best ratings.
Yeah, you said something that kind of hit home. You said that your family believed that they had to abide by the laws of the land, right?
Of course.
But the laws of the land are made up by politicians and
that's
and
right.
So, in
exactly.
a sense, you know, by voting, it kind of influences.
They abide by the laws, but they don't go out and support and say that they're putting their trust and their faith into a human being.
Interesting.
That what's going to happen is going to happen regardless.
Now, you do know.
And that there's also a higher power in politics. Like no matter how much a person or how many people vote, what they want to happen is what's going to happen.
So they actually tell you not to vote? Like, just,
yes.
They tell you not to vote. Okay.
You haven't voted and you haven't been into politics.
My whole life. My whole life.
You don't know whether you're what, a Republican or Democrat?
I'm not any of those things. I am just Delana. Oh, is that what
I like that though.
I'm just.
I don't like when people classify me in something either, because I mean, even though I am registered Democrat, there are flaws with both parties. I see, you know what I mean, and a lot of times I have problems with people that are so diehard one or the other, and they just blindly like ignore the problems that are in their own party. And it's just like, just admit, like, no party is perfect.
Well, Vanessa, do you think that there's an expectation by the masses of African Americans that we all as African Americans should be Democrats?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that way, just because it almost becomes an us versus them thing, the wealthy against us. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're...
So the wealthy against black people, or the wealthy against...
The not wealthy.
Okay, so the wealthy...
I think that a large group of African Americans assume that just because you're black, you have to be a Democrat. And I mean, I look at myself growing up. I grew up in a Democratic home, and I didn't know why I was Democrat. My mother was, that's what it was. I mean, I remember Ronald Reagan. I hated Ronald Reagan, and I didn't know why. But I figured out as I got older, I realized why I hated Ronald Reagan.
Why?
Because of my mother. She hated Ronald Reagan. Every day I hear Ronald Reagan gonna cut food stamps, he gonna cut welfare, and you ain't gonna have no Christmas.
Whoa.
Now you a little kid and you thinking Ronald Reagan taking Christmas?
Oh no.
Who is this Ronald Reagan? And so, Mom hated Ronald Reagan, I hated Ronald Reagan.
It's definitely funny how times, switch, because my father used to always tell me years and years ago, a lot of the older black people were Republican.
They were.
And that was because, Abe Lincoln freed the slaves, and so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so now it's really transitioned to Democrats now.
But Vanessa, why do you think that is?
That it transitioned to Democrats?
Yeah, how do you think the large amount of African Americans ended up shifting over to become Democrats?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Do you
know? Do you know?
What's the answer, Kev?
I don't know.
At any second, security is going to have to stop about 100,000 civil rights activists from breaking down. It's going to be some old black man waiting outside like, you mean you didn't vote?
No.
What you mean?
But could I possibly vote for the first time? I grew up in this household.
It's better.
I don't know. I'm registered.
I can't wait to
find out if
How
you're
often do you
registered
have to register?
Well, if all your information
Just
is
once
the
in your
same,
life, I've registered.
then you're good.
Like, what are some things that stand out or impact you about this debate, about these two candidates?
And, I think
the economy?
that either party uses whatever they feel will discourage voters from voting for the other party.
Some of that stuff sounds so ridiculous.
You're going to have your Democratic Party. They're going to highlight the fact that the Republicans don't care about the people. And then you're going to have a Republican Party saying the Democrats are giving away everything to the people, and that's why we're in debt. So they're playing off of each other, and they're basically playing psycho games with our minds.
It's all psychosocial because it is affecting the way that a lot of people act and interact with one another. You can't even talk about being a Democrat and a Republican in the same room.
Oh yeah, you'll get tore up.
I mean,
people get really heated. I mean, it's just one of those topics.
Well, My mother always told me, don't talk about two things. And
Politics and
religion, right?
And we just hit them both.
We just hit them both. Well,
okay, so you know that this is what the psychosocial is all about, and we got into our own little heated debate up here on the panel today. I love it, but I am interested in learning more. So we're going to move on to our next segment, which is
what is it?
Love and logic, baby.
Love
and logic.
Those two go together. There's no logic to love, is there?
It's coming up right after this.
A young man finding his mom dead of an overdose starts a downward spiral that nearly kills him. Introverted, distrustful of authority figures, this spiral finds him on the street selling drugs by the age of 14. This is just a small piece of the journey of Mr. Rayco Saunders, the formidable boxing contender that came upon the scene in the early 1990s. Now, he could definitely box. And for real, Mama said, knock you out. He will knock you out. So give a big round of applause for Mr. Rayco Saunders talking about his book, Less or Worse, our first 35 years.
Bless the curse, my first 35 years, in case people were wondering. I'm 37 now. So this is my first 35 years of my life. Very, very true story, very real story. This is a non-fiction book, reads like fiction. And I say that because there are a lot of things in this book that when people read it, first thing they say is, man, I can't believe that. I dedicated this book to all those who have had or gone through similar struggles that I went through. Dear reader of this book, I proclaim that everything you are about to read in this manuscript is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If anyone wishes to dispute anything that is written in this book, I, Rayco Saunders, am willing to submit to a polygraph examination to quash any and all disputes, provided that an individual being disputed first submits to a polygraph examination on any issue of my discretion.